I remember the time when I saw Rafaela once again. A year after that morning happened. I vividly remember how I thought I was all over her. But I was just a fool all year long to believe this to be true. I thought I was the brave one for not getting in touch with her for a year, agonizing over my longing, going back and forth about my intention to reconnect with her. But all the bravery I've held within me faded in just a few seconds. A few seconds after I've opened my apartment door, and there she was, standing, waiting, looking at me, and god damn it, I was back to square one. She must have learned about where I am currently living from our family's attorney, Mr. Peltzer, who a year ago reconnected with me to discuss our father's written will, informing me that the late Mr. Robbins has left me 20% of his wealth, one that I can only get a hold of when I turn 18. It must have been fate working with me, as after I left Rafaela, I stayed with my best friend Jessica for 2 weeks until my birthday, until I received this letter from Mr. Peltzer that I can make use of the money left on me, since I'm already at a legal as written in Mr. Robbins' will. It came at the right time, and even though a big part of me doesn't want to receive the money from the will, I took it, as I was going broke living with Jessica's family, and I wanted to get started on my own. An apartment I could call my own. About to start college, getting a new life on my own, and trying to find love among those late night parties I attended with my high school girlfriends. I haven't told anyone before that I was queer, or that I was having feelings towards my own sex. All the more for my own sister, and I was not at all comfortable in using that word to label myself. But I know I'm not straight. At least, not for Rafaela. It all had been going well, living on my own, and the only reminder that I was living a different life before came back to me upon seeing Rafaela at my apartment doorstep. And I was brought back to that same morning, where I thought I'd die because of the broken heart I was carrying around. It took me a few moments to gather up myself and ask Rafaela what she was doing here in my apartment. "May I come in?" she gently asked. She was looking at me like that morning didn't happen. Seeing it brings back the pain in my chest I thought was long gone after a year. "Sure," I nonchalantly said, opening the door. I went inside the apartment, and I could feel her following me into the living room, where she pauses to take a moment to look around. And by the looks of her expression, she seems to take a liking on the apartment. "What are you doing here?" I ask. I know I should be mentioned her father's will and its help to me, and that I should be showing my gratitude. But the memory of that morning gets the best of me, and I keep my guard up, despite the fighting urge within me to go ahead and forget everything and throw myself at her, and went for an embrace. Ask her to reconsider taking a chance to love me this time. I figured I could pay you a visit before your first week at college starts, she said, finally now meeting my eyes. "I missed out a lot of things on you. I'm sorry I was not able to attend your high school graduation." I tried to fight the rising heartbeat the instant our eyes met, and I whisked away my stares, looked down, and crossed my arms in my chest. She still has that effect on me, and I'm not happy with it. I should be over her at this time, but why the hell am I still feeling the 17-year-old me that is in love with her? I tried to play it cool enough. "No, you didn't miss it. You're not welcome in it anyway, I said bitterly. She ducked her head, and there was a brief silence that hovered between us. I could tell she was sent off hearing me talk this way, and I was glad that my lies are working out pretty well. I was telling her lies. I didn't tell her that on the morning of my high school graduation, I was waiting for her to come by my school or show up just out of the blue during the ceremony with a flower in her hand to apologize, to ask me to start over. But the day ended with no Rafael on sight, and with me just plain disappointed, drinking alone, crying over my bed overnight. She slowly paced around the room, reminding me of how she used to pace my room that morning. Only I was not going after her. She paused in the corner of a round table I had with a lamp and a few of my books resting on them. I'm sorry, Eve. I have no excuse. I just didn't want to ruin your day by showing up when you don't want to see me after what happened. Hearing this made me silently wince at the pain I was feeling. It hasn't left, just revisited. What made you think I want to see you now? I responded. I know you don't want to. I know. She ran a hand through her brown hair, now shorter than it was from the last time, just reaching her neck. I figured I could find the courage to check up on you and see how you're doing when I finally dared to call Mr. Peltzer. She pursed her lips. You are, after all, still my sister. This remark made my blood boil in the rushing pain in my chest. I hated the word. I hated how she would put me in that situation. I'm no longer your sister. You're off the hook. You don't have to look out for me anymore. I'm on my own now. I can see that, she replied. She heaves a deep breath. I can see that, Eve. There was a long moment of silence that hovered once again, and I could tell she was already going to head towards the door to bid me goodbye. I was torn between letting her go or stopping her once and for all, to beg her to reconsider loving me, or to have her go outside past the door and be gone in my life for how long after. Remembering the pain, a scheme starts forming at the top of my mind. I'm not going to have her easy way out. I guess I should be going then, she said later, casting me a bidding look. Goodbye, Eve. She was already walking towards the exit when I called her. She looked back, curious. How about we start over again? I asked her, pretending to be the sister Eve she knows. She just looks through me. I don't know how. How about you join me for a drink tonight at my friend's party on the 7th? I don't have a friend's party I was going to tonight. I just made it up. But setting it up was easy. I just needed to call Jessica and the rest of the girls. You're drinking now? She said. And catching herself with this remark, she frowned, apologizing. I'm sorry, old habits, I suppose, she sighs. I plastered a fake smile. So tonight, by 8? She pauses to look at me as if assessing her choices. I tried to maintain eye contact, but I was melting inside. I need her to believe that I'm no longer in love with her. And at that last moment, I'm glad she ducked her head before I did. Sure, I'll be there, she finally replied later. As if everything was great, I walked her out of my apartment and waved her goodbye, and watched her get into her car. As it drove away, the fake smile on my lips faded, as I vowed to myself, I'll make Rafaela jealous tonight. If she doesn't know what she's missing, I'm going to show her then. With its lips she missed out on tasting. I arrived at the bar earlier than her, and I did catch up with some of my girlfriends from high school, talking about where are we going to college and the plans we have. We were joined later by a few of the popular boys in our school. Some were already boyfriends to my friends, and we were beginning to slip into stronger drinks when Rafaela came. I remembered seeing her amongst the crowd, looking for me. And just like I always do, since I first unconsciously feel things for her, I always pause for a moment to take a breath in her sight. Her short hair is still brown. Her light skin reflects the changing lights. Her eyes were as deep and as dark as I could remember, and her jaw moved as she pursed her lips, reminding me of the night that I had my lips on them. All of this came back into my mind, and feeling extra bold tonight, I excused myself from my friends and walked to meet her. "Hey," I casually called out, and she finally saw me from a distance. "There you are," she said, almost out of breath. She did give me a look up and down, as if silently hating the provocative backless strap dress I was wearing, revealing more skin than I usually let on, revealing more than what she has seen of me before. My smile daringly curved up, seeing how her eyes darkened at the realization of what I was wearing. I can see her fighting against her own will to scold me about it, but before she can, I caught her arm and led her to my friends and introduced them to her as a friend. "Actually, I'm her sister," Rafaela casually said, much to the surprise of everyone. "Step sister," I loudly corrected, and most of my friends nodded in their understanding. I bought her a drink, and she agreed, and we kind of slipped into a conversation about school and stuff. We were in the second round of our drinks when Rafaela excused herself to go to the bathroom. I was about to leave my drink to go with her when one of my girlfriends, Sam, volunteered, and Sam agreed. During this time, one of the school's popular boys, Reese, pulled me and asked me to dance with him. As Reese pulled me into the dance floor, my eyes were still following where Rafaela and Sam were. I know I shouldn't be worried about anything, but I should be the one who's with Rafaela. The thought of the two starting up a conversation about me or other things put me off, somewhat jealous, as I wanted to have moments with Rafaela myself. That's what this whole thing is all about. We just finished dancing to the song playing when I saw Rafaela and Sam come out of the ladies' room, and Sam was laughing at apparently something Rafaela was talking about. They were walking back to our corner, and as I continued dancing, all the while watching them, I saw Sam touching a hand to Rafaela's ear to tuck a hair strand, which Rafaela just let her be. The initial discomfort inside me got the best of me, and I pulled Reese back to our corner, locked arms with him, and kissed him full on the lips, just as I planned, to which he responded so willingly. Our friends gushed in amazement, while I waited for Rafaela to respond differently. Other than her eyes darkening as they act, she did nothing and averted her eyes downward. We were frantically making out in front of them amidst the crazy crowd when I saw Sam inch closer to Rafaela, holding her drink in one hand, the other brushing away what could be an imaginary speck of dust in Rafaela's jacket. And I know it's just a way to get closer. Rafaela smiling and Sam seductively sipping her drink already sent me to my edge. I wiggled away from Reese's arms around me and walked over to where Sam is and landed a slap on her face, which drooled her drink over her dress, and upon realization, slapped me back. Rafaela was too quick to put a stop to this exchange of slaps, and I could see our friends holding back Sam. The whole thing got the rest of the crowd stopped from dancing. "You whore," I hear myself shouting amidst the playing beats. "You bitch, I didn't know what I did wrong," Sam replied. Later on, Rafaela dragged me out of the bar alongside two bouncers following us out. With all her strength, Rafaela pushed me inside her car, and despite my retaliation, she started driving us away from the place. "What the hell's wrong with you?" Rafaela said, her hands on the wheel gripped hard. "What the hell's wrong with you?" I said back, my anger still searing. "You're flirting with one of my friends?" "I didn't know she was flirting. And if she is, what's wrong with it?" she said, her eyes focused on the road. I tried to hold back the mocking laugh erupting in my throat. "You're sick. Back then my teacher, now one of my girlfriends?" Rafaela's jaw tightened, and this gesture made me both hate her and want her now. Maybe it was the alcohol working its magic, or maybe it was the jealousy consuming me, but I find myself unconsciously biting my lip, and my hair starts feeling heavy. "I'll drive you to your apartment, and we'll call it a night," Rafaela later said. I blinked, and suddenly I felt dizzy, and within seconds, I could feel myself drifting to sleep. I was awakened later by someone dragging me, and when I opened my eyes, I could see Rafaela's face close to mine, and she was trying her best to carry me all through my apartment to my bedroom. I could smell her perfume, her sweat, and her arms around me, snake around my waist, guiding me towards the bedroom. I could hear myself murmuring, clinging to her, and when she finally laid me down in my bedroom, in the darkness, just when she was about to release me from her grip, I held her back and sniffed her neck, begging her not to leave me alone anymore. "Why can't you just be with me?" I hear myself saying. The desperation in my voice cannot hide my longing for the past year, and I don't want to hold back anymore. "Why can't you flirt with anyone but me?" You need to rest this out, Eve." "No, I need you here with me. I don't know what to do. I can't think straight ever since I left." I start crying now. I was the same. I was never the same since you let me leave." She tried to withdraw away from her closeness, and I was not having it. When she did, I grabbed her back and then straddled her back on the bed. Our positions reversed. "Eve." I didn't know what I was doing. I pinned both her hands by both of mine back in the bed, and I watched as she struggled to get away from me. And acting upon my desires, I kissed her on the lips, which she tried to stop. When I broke free, she broke away from my hands gripping her, hostage and holding it, but I fought against it. We had our pillow fight. "You need to stop this, Eve." "Why can't you just love me?" I longingly cried out, and acting once again on my desperation, I went on to kiss her once again, but I failed, and at this, I started punching her chest in anger, in denial, and pain. "Eve, why can't we be together? Why can't you just choose me?" I said continuously. She tries to catch my hands but failed at her first few tries. And when she already did, she switched our position. But she instantly got up and I was left on the side of the bed. I continued crying, my tears dampening my pillow, and I can see Rafaela pacing the room. There was a moment of silence, and the only sound I could hear from the room, apart from my crying, was the weight of her feet walking until it stopped. I touched a hand to my forehead, and I could feel my world spinning even though I'm lying down on my sheets. I'll call Mr. Peltzer's secretary to keep an eye on you tomorrow morning, I could hear her saying later. I can't do this right now, Eve. I can't have this right now. I'm sorry, it's my fault to have put you all through this. I tried to move to answer back, to tell her that she should stop blaming herself any longer, still thinking that she was at fault, when all I did was just fell in love with her and never realized it could complicate things between us. But before I could, she exited the room, and by the next few minutes, I was alone on my own again. Alone with my tears again. I pressed my head against the pillow and cried all out. And at the top of my head, I can't believe I got played into this unbearable pain again by my own scheme. It didn't work. I made myself jealous instead of the other way around. And at the end of the night, she still can't find it within her to love me.